They say hospitals are where people go to be saved, but sometimes the danger does not come from the illness. Sometimes it comes from the hands that are supposed to heal you. Shola was not supposed to be there for too long. A routine appendix surgery, in and out in 2 days. That was what Dr. Emeka had told her. That was what she had told her mother. That was what she had believed. She was 31 years old. She ran a small catering business from her flat in Yaba. She had 3 catering orders waiting for her that weekend. She had a life to go back to. She checked in on a Tuesday morning, signed the forms with a steady hand, changed into hospital gown, and lay down on the bed in Ward 7, with her locks loose on the pillow. She was not afraid. She had no reason to be. The surgery went well. Dr. Emeka came in afterward. Stethoscope around his neck. Wireframe glasses slightly forged from the theater. He told her everything had gone smoothly. He prescribed her post-surgery medication, a specific antibiotics, and a pain management drip, wrote it clearly on her chart, and handed it to Nurse Rita before he left for the night. Nurse Rita was the senior nurse on the night shift. She had been at the hospital for 11 years. She knew the wards the way some people know their own kitchens. She read Dr. Emeka's chart. She nodded. She clipped it to Shola's bed. Then she went to the nurse's station, sat down, and pulled out her phone. She was on a phone call for 40 minutes. A personal call, laughing, loud enough that the cleaner on the floor heard it from the corridor. When she finally stood up to do the medication rounds, she was in a hurry. She had 2 more wards to cover. She grabbed the medication tray, moved fast, and did not double-check the chart. She gave Shola the wrong drip, not a small error, not a similar medication, the completely wrong one. A drip meant for the diabetic patient in the next bed, containing a compound that Shola's post-surgery body could not process. She hung it on the IV stand, noted it on her clipboard without looking up, and moved to the next bed. Shola woke up feeling wrong. Not pain exactly, something stranger. A heaviness spreading from her left wrist where the IV line was inserted, moving up her arm like cold water, filling a pipe. Her vision blurred at the edges. Her heartbeat changed. Not faster, just different, unfamiliar, wrong. She pressed the call button. Once, twice, 3 times. Nurse Rita was back at the nurse's station. On her phone again. 4 minutes passed before anyone came. By the time the junior nurse on shift reached Ward 7, Shola was unconscious. The junior nurse saw the drip. She saw the chart. She saw what had just happened in 2 seconds flat. She screamed for the doctor on call. The next 4 hours was a war. Doctors running, crashed charts in the corridor, Mama Shola arriving at 3 a.m. in her house clothes, hands shaking, not understanding what was being told to her except for 2 words, critical condition. Shola lived, but not the same way she had before. The wrong medication had caused acute kidney stress. Her right kidney was damaged, not destroyed, but diminished permanently. She would need monitoring for the rest of her life. She could no longer walk the long catering hours she used to do. She was tired in a way sleep could not fix. She was 31 years old and her body had been aged by one person's carelessness in 40 minutes. The hospital's response was swift and quiet. An internal review, a letter of apology, an offer of 3 months free treatment. Nurse Rita was given a written warning and moved to a different ward. A different ward? That was all? Shola read the letter sitting up in her hospital bed, her locks loose on the pillow, the IV line still in her wrist. She read it twice, then she folded it neatly, placed it on the bedside table, and looked at her mother sitting in the chair beside her. "Mama," she said quietly, "get me a lawyer." The lawyer arrived. Lawyer Bosse arrived on a Thursday afternoon. Black suit, gold bead necklace, briefcase in her left hand, square gold frame glasses. She walked into Shola's hospital room, sat down, opened the briefcase, took out a notepad, and looked at Shola with the eyes of a woman who had heard 100 stories and knew immediately which one had merit. Shola told her everything, slowly, from the Tuesday morning check-in, to the wrong drip, to the 40 minutes nobody came, to the later with each 3 months offer. Lawyer Bosse wrote without stopping. When Shola finished, Bosse looked up from her notepad. "The hospital made 4 distinct errors," she said. "The wrong medication, the delayed response to your call button, the inadequate internal review, and the offer of compensation designed to make you sign away your right to sue before you understood the full extent of your injury. Did you sign the latter?" "No," Shola said. Lawyer Bosse allowed herself one small smile. "Good. And then we have everything. This is not a complaint to the hospital's board. With each 3 months offer, Shola, this is a court case." The case took 8 months to reach the courtroom. 8 months of Shola, managing her fatigue, attending medical reviews, meeting with Lawyer Bosse in her Ikeja office, watching the hospital's legal team try 4 different times to settle out of court. Each time, Lawyer Bosse sent the same response: declined. When the trial finally opened, the courtroom was full. Medical negligence case in Lagos did not usually draw crowds. This one did, because someone had posted Shola's story online 3 months earlier, and 30,000 people had shared it. Nurses, doctors, patients, mothers, everyone who had ever had their body to the hospital and trusted it would be returned to them intact. Shola sat at the plaintiff table in her navy Ankara suit, locks pinned neatly up, gold stud earrings, hands flat, and still on the table. She had not come to cry in this courtroom. She had come to be believed. Nurse Rita sat across the courtroom in her nurse attire, flanked by the hospital's legal team. The evidence was presented cleanly. The medication chart in Dr. Emeka's handwriting, the wrong drip bag logged under Shola's name, the phone record showing Nurse Rita 40 minutes personal call during medication rounds, the 4-minute gap between Shola pressing the call button and anyone arriving, the junior nurse's testimony, delivered in steady voice, confirming she had identified the error within 2 seconds of entering the ward. The lawyer Bosse stood up. She did not shout. She did not perform. She simply walked the court through 40 minutes of negligence and showed them precisely, quietly, and without a single unnecessary word what those 40 minutes had cost a 31-year-old woman for the rest of her life. The judge took 3 days. On the morning of the verdict, Shola sat in the courtroom beside her mother, who had worn her best head wraps and was holding her daughter's hand so tightly her knuckles had peeled. Lawyer Bosse sat on Shola's other side, briefcase on the floor, gold frame glasses on, hands folded. The judge found in Shola's favor on all 4 counts: medical negligence, failure of duty care, institutional cover-up, unlawful inducement to waiver legal rights. Nurse Rita's license was suspended, pending a full tribunal review by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. The hospital was ordered to pay substantial compensation covering lifetime medical monitoring, lost business income, and damage for permanent injury. The hospital's chief medical director was summoned to appear before the Lagos Magistrate of Health within 30 days. The courtroom erupted. Mama Shola pressed her face into her daughter's shoulder and wept, the kind of crying that had been held back for 8 months and will not be held any longer. Shola did not cry. She sat very still for a long moment. Her locks pinned up. Then she turned and looked directly across the courtroom at Nurse Rita, not with anger, not in triumph, with something quieter and more final than both of those things. The look of a woman who had been broken by carelessness, absolutely refused to stay broken. Shola did not destroy Nurse Rita. The truth did. All Shola did was refuse to let the truth be buried under a 3-month offer and a letter of apology. She walked into the hospital healthy. She walked out changed forever. But she walked back into that courtroom and she made sure that what was done to her in the dark was seen, fully and finally, in the light. The nurse who destroyed her thought it was over in 40 minutes. Shola made sure it was not over until justice was.